This duel was a powder keg from the start. Both chefs are from Fujian. Hometown rivals now pitted against each other in a culinary Fujian derby. Grandmaster Yang Yanbin came out swinging, boasting he'd make short work of his opponent. But challenger Yi Xingqiu didn't flinch, firing back. "I am knocking him out today. It is that simple." Their weapon of choice, Udo, the so-called king of wild vegetables. The challenge with this ingredient is singular. You have to conquer its signature, aggressive bitterness. Grandmaster Yang Yanbin's technique was simply on another plane. His oil temperature for the crisps was as precise as a high-end tempura house. Crucially, he didn't just tame the Udo's bitterness. He transformed it into a sophisticated, elegant highlight. The challenger's dish, by contrast, was a battle on the plate. The bitterness of the Udo clashed with the sweetness of the crab, running rampant and destroying the balance. In the end, there was no doubt. Yang Yanbin took the Fujian derby in a clean 3-0 sweep. This cocky grandmaster, it turns out, has the skills to back up the trash talk. But for the challenger, there is no shame in this loss. To voluntarily challenge the best from your hometown, he can leave with his head held high. Next up, a battle between two of the competition's top female chefs. First, the decorated grandmaster of Sichuan cuisine, Zheng Huaijun. She started at 18, fueled by pure passion, and clawed her way up to executive chef. In the male-dominated kitchens of Sichuan, she proved a woman can command the wok, taming the roaring fires of that world. Her opponent, challenger Li Yanning from Hong Kong, a chef trained in classical French cuisine. The stage is set for a showdown, a master of Chinese cuisine versus a master of French. And their challenge ingredient is a creature that makes most people's skin crawl. The sandworm. The moment challenger Li Yanning saw it, she had a complete meltdown. She has a deep-seated, lifelong fear of worms. The still, squirming sandworms were a living nightmare. She was too terrified to even touch them. Sandworms are notoriously difficult to clean. One mistake, and you get a mouthful of grit. Grandmaster Zheng showcased her veteran instincts. The trick is to paralyze them in water, letting the sand sink, then expertly flip them inside out without rupturing the gut. Across the kitchen, Li Yanning, having never touched a sandworm, had gone to a local market to take a crash course from a vendor. Zheng Huaijun's game plan, a modern interpretation of the Sichuan classic, pushing sand to gaze at the moon. She built a classic sour and savory Sichuan soup base, simmering it for hours until it was rich and viscous. With that foundation, the dish's flavor architecture was already rock solid. Her finishing touch, blanching the live sandworms for just 10 seconds to lock in their ultimate tender, crisp texture. Meanwhile, Li Yanning's goal was damage control. Create a sandworm dish that doesn't look like a sandworm. She ingeniously used the sandworm skin as a casing for blanched asparagus, then shocked it in ice water for maximum crunch. She then hid the rolls inside a cuttlefish mousse, completely disguising the ingredient she feared. For her sauce, she borrowed from the French playbook, creating a classic beurre noisette with herbs and lemon. During the tasting, the judges were floored by Zheng Huaijun's surfing sandworms. The soup was perfectly balanced, amplifying the worm's natural sweetness. The texture was incredible. Li Yanning's dish was lauded as brilliantly inventive. Every slice revealed a new layer, a new surprise. The judges loved the creativity. The final verdict, a 2-1 volts victory for Grandmaster Zheng Huaijun. The judges reasoned that while both dishes were excellent, Zheng's point of view on the ingredient was clearer, and her command of the flavor profile was simply on a higher level. The third duel was a true clash of titans. On one side, the old rascal, a legend of traditional Sichuan cuisine. On the other, Chen Xiaodong, 7, a leader of modern Cantonese cuisine, celebrated for his deconstruction and innovation. Their ingredient, crayfish, on paper. This was a massive advantage for the old rascal, a master of spice. But he threw a curveball, avoiding the obvious spicy preparations to tackle a revered Sichuan classic, Kung Pao. The Kung Pao flavor profile is notoriously unforgiving. The balance of sour, sweet, and savory must be perfect. The old rascal mixed his sauce entirely by feel, a master's touch that left everyone watching speechless. Across the way, Chen Xiaodong, the deconstructionist, set out to completely redefine the crayfish experience. He broke a single crayfish down into 3 distinct elements: tail meat, tomali, and shell. The meat was kept pure. The tamale became a rich, umami-packed sauce, and the shells were used to create 2 different chili oils. 2 sauces, 1 vision, all from a single creature. The concept was a mind-bending revelation for the other chefs. In a moment of pure class, the 2 legends were seen tasting each other's sauces, a clear sign of deep mutual respect. In the final seconds, the old rascal's wok erupted in flames. The unmistakable aroma of wok, and Kung Pao filling the air. Chen Xiaodong plated calmly at the last possible moment, ensuring his dish was perfectly hot when it hit the table. The result, a jaw-dropping upset. A 3-0 landslide victory for Chen Xiaodong. The critique, the old rascal's Kung Pao flavor was spot on, but the crayfish was slightly overcooked, and its delicate texture was compromised. Chen Xiaodong's dish, however, was a paradigm shift. It was an elegant, creative, and completely new way to think about crayfish. The grandmasters were falling, and the challenger's confidence was surging. But the next ingredient brought the room to a dead halt. Beijing Duji, the infamous fermented mung bean milk. It is a true, love it or hate it food, known for its pungent, sour funk. The challenger, the nomadic chef, knew he was unlucky to prepare. He'd chugged gallons of it until, he said, the smell was coming out of my skin. His opponent, Lucas, a Spanish grandmaster based in Beijing, his first impression of the ingredient, truly disgusting. But a plan quickly formed. Use the duji as a base for a Western-style sauce. He paired it with a fatty Alfonsino fish, creating a cream-based sauce, hoping the fat would tame the duji's aggressive funk. The nomadic chef, however, decided to serve his childhood on a plate, creating a trio of duji-based snacks. First, a fried sourdough, like bread made with duji, filled with a duji cheese. Second, a dessert inspired by candied fruit skewers, using hawthorn and sea buckthorn to fight the funk with sweet and sour notes. Third, a soup, blending 3 different broths to strip out the off flavors and isolate the duji's underlying sweetness. At the tasting, the judges respected Lucas's technique, but felt that in trying to balance the flavor, the star ingredient got lost. The nomadic chef's dishes, however, while a massive flavor shock to some, were praised for their incredible creativity, deep storytelling, and fearless embrace of the theme. In a stunning upset, the nomadic chef beat the grandmaster in a 3-0 sweep. Judge Nicholas TSE admitted that while he hated the taste, the challenger's approach was so multifaceted and fun that it won him over. That victory was the spark that lit the fuse. The challenger's team spirit exploded, and they began taking down grandmasters left and right. In the tan sheep duel, the wilderness chef won by telling a story of Ningxia's terroir on the plate. In the white Laquot duel, Fisherman Fresh won by creating a brilliant harmony between the sweet fruit and savory seafood. And in the eel duel, Yanji Sheng won with a creative eel 2 ways, knocking yet another grandmaster out of the competition. The underdogs are toppling the giants, with sheer creativity and unstoppable drive. These young chefs are here to rewrite the rulebook.